Welcome back to the Camilla Tominey Show. Joining me now is the People's Deputy of Ukraine, Alexei Goncharenko. Mr. Goncharenko, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. Do we think that Russia has stepped up its attacks against Ukraine in light of that very difficult meeting at the Oval Office between President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance and President Zelensky?
I think Russia increased their attacks on Ukraine as a result not of the meeting itself, but of the consequences of this meeting, stopping American military aid to Ukraine and pause in sharing of intelligence data. Now Russia tries to exploit this time and this opportunity like they did a year ago when it was also paused in American military supply because of the debates in the Congress. Now they try to do something similar.
And what's the view in Ukraine, Mr. Goncharenko? Is it that President Zelensky mishandled this meeting?
I think you can ask many people and you will hear different answers. Many people support him and rallying around him. Some people, including me, I think he mishandled this meeting. And I think that leaders should deliver, first of all. And he came to the White House not to argue with the American president, but to cooperate and to find the ways to do this. And the end is catastrophic. We lost this support. Could it be another way if he would behave another way? I don't know, but maybe it would be a chance at least. But we have what we have. And unfortunately, I think this meeting strengthened those in entourage of President Trump because there are different people there. There are very good people in Ukraine and interested in Europe. But there are other people, and unfortunately, this meeting last Friday, it encouraged those skeptics and pro-Putin people in his entourage.
Yes. And what are we to make of President Trump's people apparently meeting in secret with opposition MPs in Ukraine? Now, I know you are an opposition MP. I'm not sure if you've been involved in any talks with Trump's people, but we know a number of different opposition MPs in Ukraine have been.
No, it's more rumors. I mean, I'm involved in talking with American congressmen, senators, former and acting officials. That's part of my job, being one of representatives of Ukraine in the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, meeting and working with American colleagues. So I don't think that there are secret meetings about just kicking out Zelensky or something like this. We can't have elections today. I'm not supporter of Zelensky, as you told, and that's true. But I can tell you, we can't have elections. So it's physically impossible. It's not. We don't have elections not because Zelensky tries to avoid them. We don't have elections because it's physically impossible in our security situation.
Even as an opposition MP, Mr. Goncharenko, what do you make of some of the claims? They're largely made on X. They're the kind of claims that are repeated by the likes of Elon Musk. Zelensky is in fact a dictator. He's a warmonger who's prolonging the war unnecessarily. He's forcibly conscripting troops to the front line. He's corrupt. What's your reaction to these claims that seem to be fueling this slightly anti-Ukraine, pro-Russian sentiment among some in the US?
That's very important. And I think not only in the US. First of all, I would like to address to all those people who are not big fans of President Zelensky. I mean, also, I'm not his fan, but Ukraine is not President Zelensky. Ukraine is tens of millions of people who are suffering and dying here every day. Ukraine is also the country which is fighting against awful tyranny, which tries to conquer Europe. Speaking about Russia and Putin. So please don't forget it and don't mess it. I think, by the way, it's one of the mistakes of Zelensky that he embodied in himself completely Ukrainian resilience. At the beginning, it was great because it was easy for understanding of people who maybe even didn't know what is Ukraine and where it is situated. But now it's bad because all questions to him are lying also on Ukraine too. Speaking about dictatorship, he's not dictator. He's democratically elected leader. Do we have problems with democracy in Ukraine? Yes, we do. It's understandable. 3 years of martial law time, you know. It's not the best time for democracy to flourish. But I think Zelensky could be more democratic. There is partly control by the government of the media. There is a lot of pressure on local governance. There is a lot of pressure on opposition. Zelensky is using also sanctioning opposition leaders, which is definitely not right to do. So we have some problems, but they're not so critical to call him dictator. It's very big exaggeration.
Must he return to the White House? We note that he's going to be meeting the Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia tomorrow. He's pulling out of those talks, though, and not speaking to US representatives. Is that a mistake?
I don't know. It's quite strange that he's coming there, but then he's leaving. Maybe because he wants, like, it's not a presidential level, he thinks. But I don't think it's time for any pride now. And it's time again to deliver and to find how to work with Americans. We can't lose the United States. And we don't have another American president, and we will not have another for 4 years. So we should work with them. By the way, ending our conversation about Zelensky, I think one thing from him would be very right to do now. In 2019, when he ran for the presidency, he promised officially, publicly, that he will never seek for re-election, that he will present one term. I think it's time for him to remind this and to go and say, I will not run again. I will finish this war as democratically elected leader of Ukraine. I will end the war, and then I will organize democratic elections in which I will not take part. And I think it will take off all the questions about dictatorship, all part of the problems with Trump administration, and many, many other things which are absolutely not needed now. And by this, he would show that he is really a statesman, not a politician. We will see.
But where are the Ukrainian people when it comes to a peace deal? Because obviously one man's peace deal could be construed as another man's surrender. If it involves giving territory up to Russia, how will the Ukrainian people react?
We need to define what does it mean to give territory to Russia. Never, ever, any Ukrainian leader will sign anything that these territories are Russian. So our territorial integrity de jure should be secured. This is illegally occupied territories by Russia. But yes, with this level of support from our allies, we can't kick out Russians from our territories. Quite opposite, we are losing a little bit and a little bit, but almost every day. So it means that for some time, our territories will be controlled by Russia. But once again, they are Ukrainian territories. One day, this last colonial empire in Europe, which is Russia, will fall apart, and we will regain control over our territories. That's how I think it's consensus in Ukraine here about this.
Is that credible, though, Mr. Goncharenko? I mean, whoever succeeds Putin surely is going to share his imperial aims.
Definitely. I agree with you. It's not the war of Putin, it's war of Russia. It's very important for everybody to understand. And after the war with Ukraine, Russia is not going to live in peace. They will look for new prey. Maybe it will be Ukraine again if they will feel we're weak, or they will attack in other countries. Is it a sustainable thing? No, it's not. But, you know, there are situations close to this in the world which last for decades already. So we don't know for how long will it last.
OK, and quick final question. Keir Starmer's coalition of the willing, is it enough?
It's great, but it's not enough. Without United States of America, it's not enough.